right, Mr. Jones, I'm going to take it from here. Thank you so much for welcoming everybody as we were getting started. I so appreciate all of you taking a second Saturday in a row to join me on Sales Masterclass. Many of you know last weekend we launched the training on HBA. So we changed HBS in most states. There are a handful of states that did not change, and Canada, of course, did not change. But the rest of the country here in the United States, we did launch the HBA on August 1st. If you are not aware of that, please make sure you go into Ellis Engage, go to training, and make sure that you look at the training on HBA. So it will tell you all the details of what you need to know to appropriately sell the home business add-on in the states that we launched on the 1st. Okay, it's really important to do so. And you know, Johnny, last weekend I also mentioned that just as a reminder that we have 11 states where we can market our legal plan to Spanish-speaking members. LegalShield en Español really is not a quote unquote program, right? We are not marketing in Spanish the way we did before. And once again, that information's on that. So make sure if you don't have those updates on HBA. Also, we had a slight change in Business Plus Supplement. And of course, we did in June launch the 11 states for Spanish speaking members so that you're aware of all of those updates. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our sales masterclass today. So thank you so much once again for joining me on a sales masterclass. This is one of 2 sales masterclasses we will have in the month of August. We will have today is Make a Will Month training. And then the end of the month, we will recap the first month of HBA. We'll talk more about how that's working, answering your sales questions, product questions, and also talk about positioning the HBA and the Essentials Plus and Pro in the appropriate conversations with your potential members. Okay. Johnny, I see we also have another panelist in here. I'm not sure who that is. Forgive me. I think we're fine. No biggie. If not, you just bump them over to an attendee. Okay, Johnny?
You'll have to do that because you have to be host to do that.
Okay, let me see. I forgive me, family. I'm not sure. Not sure why that's there, but anyway, that's okay. All right, so officially, once again, welcome you to the Sales Masterclass. Today's topic is Make a Will Month, and we have a will webinar that is happening starting next Wednesday, okay? Wednesday, August 7th, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on Chat with the Pros. Much like last year, we had our some of our provider attorneys join, either Mr. Darnell self, myself, some of the other leaders, Mr. Brian Carruthers, and we allowed the providers to talk about how powerful it is, how important it is, what it means to have your affairs in order. And so that's the same format that we're doing this year. And it kicks off on Wednesday. And that's why I wanted to do this sales masterclass today, so that I can share with you some of the preparation of you inviting and some of the knowledge maybe of some of the resources you already have available to you to use, how potentially based on us promoting Make a Will Month, maybe you want to do some of your own will workshops and talk to you about the different ways that we can do that. And so I didn't want to wait until the end of the month to talk about Make a Will Month. I wanted to make sure we did it at the beginning of the month. So if you're not already aware, please make sure that you note in your calendar right now that Mr. Darnell Self will be hosting with 2 of our provider attorneys on Wednesday the 7th, 7 p.m. Chat with the Pros. You can invite your guest. Yes, we want thousands of people to be on the webinar. Okay. And so Make sure you're texting your family, your loved ones today, and you're saying, you know what? This is Make a Will Month. And because I care about you, I want you to get the information on how important it is to have your affairs in order, how simple it can be to have your affairs in order, right? Reach out to all your family members and friends. I was talking to Mr. Ken Roebuck the other day, Johnny, and he said what he does this month is he kind of has like a family reunion on webinars, right? He gets all
Mm.
his family together, says, hey, listen, you're my family. And because you're my family and because I love you, I care about you. And if something was to happen to you, we want to make sure that, that you have your affairs in order. We don't want to leave a burden to anybody else in our family to take care of what we should have already taken care of, right? And so collectively as a family, they do Make a Will Month. And I just thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. We get together to have barbecues. Why can't we get together to have a will workshop, right? And so anyway, I just thought I would bring that up today because I just thought, man, sometimes we just don't place the right importance on our gatherings. I mean, it's great to, to have the barbecues. It's great to, dance and have a good time with our family. But man, wouldn't it also be peace of mind knowing that we also can get together as a family and take care of something very important? So before we get into all the resources and things that we have available to us, family, I want to start with some contract read. Okay. And it's not the easiest thing to understand. I get it. But we need to know how our services work. But we also need to know, especially in the estate planning, we need to know how much value we provide to our members. And it is pretty substantial for $29.95 a month what we do for our members. So the contract reads, the estate planning services area, that the last will and testament, right, the will, a covered person has the right to have their will prepared by their provider law firm or have a review of or an amendment to an existing will by the provider law firm. What does that mean? That means that I'm able, as a member, to have my law firm, which happens to be here in Maryland, Freeman, Fromme, and Thrush. I have the right to have them under my membership prepare my will. Or I have a right to have them review my will or to amend an existing one. But it must have been executed. It must have actually been prepared by my provider law firm. I know many a times people will say, and I've had this happen to me, family, oh, I have a will. Will they review it? And we say, sure. No, if it wasn't prepared by our attorney, by our provider law firm, right? They actually do not review. They will actually go ahead and create a will, okay? They will amend that will. It's an existing one that they provided. It's challenging for a provider law firm, for one of our attorneys to go in and actually take a legal document created by another attorney and do so. So they create, okay? That's what that means. That's why it says to an existing will by the provider law firm. I need it amended. I need it changed. Hey, great. We're just going to go ahead and get you a brand new one. And hey, don't worry about the cost because it's included in your membership.
Mm-hmm.
That's where some people get a little tripped up because they're like, yeah, but I just need one thing changed and I don't want to pay for the whole documentation. You don't have to worry about the cost because it's included in your membership. Okay. The covered person desiring a will must provide all the information to complete it, right? There's a little space there on that slide, the will. Whoops, go back. So please understand that, because I had this happen to me too, Johnny. Our service level standard, believe it or not, our service level standard is to complete our estate planning documents in 5 business days. Once we have given them all the information. So
Right.
if we haven't given them all the information, day 1 doesn't start ticking. It starts ticking the minute they have all the information. I'm sorry, but this is driving me crazy right here. And so you have to understand that they have to have all the information in order to start day 1. All right. The other thing is, it moved forward, didn't it? No, it didn't. Having trouble there with my screen. I don't know what's going on. All right. The will also may include a codicil. And I had to look this up. I'm not an attorney. And it told me what that is. It told me it's an addition to or a supplement that either explains, modifies, or revokes a part of a will. So if we need to do that, right, as a provider law firm, they could include that. And also they may include a creation of a testamentary child's trust. So when people say, well, will they do a trust? Well, included, right? It included in our estate planning, it could include a child's trust. But where does a trust fall into this is actually at a 25% discount if the member wants a trust. So when people say to me, well, Melissa, well, will they do a will and a trust? Or, hey, I was told I need a trust. I say, the great thing about it is we don't have to stress or guess. If you have a question about your family, your assets, your wishes, because all of ours are different, right? With that being said, the power that we have is to be able to pick up the phone, tap an app, and say, I need advice on my estate planning. We will have a qualified estate planning attorney call you back and talk to you about your life, your family, your asset, your wishes, because all of ours are created different. And once you have that conversation with them, they're going to tell you exactly the best plan of action when it comes to your estate planning. So make sure that, family, you're not just saying that we prepare a will. Make sure that you say, we're excited to say that we have estate planning available for our members,
Yes.
right? Because that advice is so important. Now, we also do durable power of attorneys. A covered person has the right to have a durable power of attorney. The attorney prepared by the power of attorney prepared by the provider law firm, and have review of or an amendment to an existing one that was prepared by the provider attorney. We also do the physician's directive, which is the living will. Same thing. We have the right to have that done and review of or an amendment of an existing one that was prepared by the provider attorney. Now, the covered person has the right to each of these services once a membership year. Execution and storage of the will, the powers of attorney, is the responsibility of the member. So what does that mean? So once a year, we should be talking to our estate plan attorney at a minimum. Once a year, we should either be getting our documents either prepared, or we should be getting them reviewed or amended. As our life changes, we should be doing that. But it also states, very important, that the execution and storage of these documents are the member's responsibility. So unfortunately, I've had members pass and their family members have found their LegalShield stuff, right? Whether it was like their LegalShield membership card in the past, whether it was my business card, whether they saw just some kind of documentation that had LegalShield. And so when they've called me and said, hey, listen, I don't know what to do here. My mother's passed away. I found your business card. I'm not sure if she is like a member of yours. I'm not sure if she ever got her will done. And so a lot of times what we want to do is say, oh, well, let me call the law firm and let me see if they can shoot over a copy of that, right? That's not how it works. Our law firms execute it, they send it, or they complete it, they send it to our members. Our members then should get it notarized, should get it witnessed, and should file it or store it in an area where their family members know how to get that information. Does that make sense? Johnny, this is really important. This foundational information is really important to the rest of what we're going to talk about.
I see a lot of people putting thumbs up and hearts, so yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. So what I love is the fact that we have great documentation to share with our members. Everything I just said right now was kind of legal verbiage, right? Legal blah, blah, blah. For the most part, it would say Charlie Brown, wah, 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 right? But we have to know that that's how our process works. And right here on this screen, though, is a flyer we have in Alice Engage. right? Don't look now. It is there. I checked it yesterday when I was putting together the deck. So we have this particular flyer that says exactly what I just said, but it does it in a more friendlier way, a more conversational way, not a contract read way. And I love the wording here, right? I love the wording here in terms of tap complete and leave your last love letter. My husband says this all the time. He says, he doesn't ask people, did they have a will? He just asks them, hey, have you prepared your last love letter for your family? Right? It just pulls on your heart. That's what you want. You want emotion when you're having conversations, right? And so with the push of a button, you're going to be able to start a conversation of estate planning with our members. See, our law firms will prepare our wills, our living wills, our healthcare power of attorneys, our financial power of attorneys, our annual reviews and updates. And by the way, these services are available to members 18 years of age or older. And trust preparation, if that's what's necessary, is also included at a member discount. All of these benefits are included at no additional cost to our members. I just said that in 3 sentences as opposed to fumbling through those other slides of the contract read, right? And so get this flyer and get it out. This is Make a Will Month. Let your friends, let your family know, let your neighbors know, right? That they don't have to worry about the financial burden, right, of getting their last love letter done. Another thing real quick, it just popped in my head, so I want to share it with you guys, is that my husband talks to life insurance agents all the time. And you know what he says to them? He also trains Primerica, and I think this is where he started really picking up on this is it's challenging for somebody that sells life insurance not to have a conversation about a will. So how many life insurance agents do you know right now that you can get this to them, this flyer to them and say, hey, listen, when you're talking to your clients, and you're talking about life insurance, you're going to mention having their estate in order. Could you please give them this flyer and let them know that there's a simple way, there's an affordable way. As a matter of fact, I'd love to invite them to a webinar, just a 45-minute webinar so they can be educated on exactly what it means to have your will done, what's the importance, some of the nuances of that. And then they also can hear a little bit about the resources that we provide. Get this into their hands and ask them to help invite people for you, right? Isn't that a great way of doing that, Johnny?
Yeah. And I still do that too.
Absolutely. So who is covered on the plan is very important as well. We know the member spouse or domestic partner, never married children, never married dependent children under the age of 26 living at home or full-time college students. What about dependents under 18? Of course, they have a legal guardianship of and physically or mentally disabled children living at home, regardless of age. Now, there's a little bit more nuance to that. Okay, so what is the extra nuance on that is here's the contract read. So of course we got the member and the member spouse. Never married dependent children under the age of 26 who are permanent residents of the member's household or full-time college students. And then we have those children I talked about that is, of course, that they have a legal guardian of up to 18. But look at this, Johnny. It says any dependent, regardless of age, who is physically disabled or mentally incapacitated, resulting in an inability to make legally binding decisions, and is unable to be employed, 51% or more financially dependent upon the member and member spouse, and lives at home with the member and member spouse. Now, we don't need proof of this when we enroll them, but they may need proof of this when the provider law firm goes to provide services for that particular member. You say, well, Melissa, what does that have to do with estate planning? Well, if you remember what I said, it says the covered member has a right to get the estate planning done. So when you go to number 1, good, we can get that done. You go to number 2 here, the spouse, good, we get that done. Guess what? On number 3, those children 18 years of age or older that are on this plan, let's get those young adults to start being responsible. Let's get them to start getting their estate planning done. Teach them at a young age the importance of those things, right? If nothing else, understand that, and I'm sure Mr. Fiffick or Mr. Hassey or whomever's going to do the webinars this month for us, I'm sure they're going to talk about the fact of once this person turns 18, and even if I'm their mother, I legally don't have a right to make decisions for them. They are considered an adult. They need to have powers of attorney for me so that I can act on their behalf if something was to happen to them. Right? I don't care if it's just a financial power of attorney, or maybe something more important like a healthcare directive, right? But why not go ahead and get the whole estate planning package done? I can't go into a medical facility if my child is 18 years old and tell the doctor what they can or cannot do if I don't have a power of attorney. Imagine that. And it's my own child. Right? So make sure that we teach our family members these things. We teach our loved ones these things. Start making those decisions the minute that person becomes an adult. And it doesn't have to cost us anymore. So why wouldn't we do it? And then we look at those dependent children that are physically disabled or mentally incapacitated that are on our memberships. Mike Fiffick talked last year on these will workshops very specifically about a special needs trust or a special needs estate planning. If I have a child that has special needs, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase what he said, but I'm sure he'll talk about it again this coming Thursday if he's or Wednesday if he's the speaker. And what he said was basically, here I work hard all my life, and I take care of my physically disabled or mentally incapacitated child, and I put money aside for his care or her care. But if I don't have the right guidance of how to distribute my assets to that child, and I'm thinking I'm helping them, I basically could also be in a situation without understanding it. I could be hurting him or her because if I leave a certain amount of money, it could take away the benefits that that person, that child is receiving today that they so rightly deserve. So instead of me helping, because I don't understand, because I'm not an attorney and really don't understand what I'm doing, I could actually be hurting their situation, not helping their situation. So special needs planning in our estate planning is very, very important, family, right? So 18 years of age and older, special needs. So Johnny, I'm going to stop there for a few minutes and see if there's any questions or any comments that are going on.
I got three questions.
Okay.
One, is the child's trust covered at a 25% discount?
So our contract says that it may include the testamentary children's trust. So when we're talking to our estate planning attorney about our family, right? And what the dynamics of our family are. Also our assets, also our wishes, depending on multiple factors. If that's something that the attorney's going to say, yes, you really should put this in a trust for a child. It says that we have the children's trust in the estate planning.
Okay. Notary and witness, will the law firms be the notary and
No,
witness?
no, not at all. When they send it to us, after we get all the information, they have 5 days, right, to complete it. They're going to call our member too and ask questions because they're going to be, after they answer all the estate planning questions, there will be some other questions the attorney will need. They're going to call our member back, get all the questions answered, complete the documents, mail it to our member, physically mail it to our member, and our member has to do the execution, meaning getting it witnessed. The member has to store it. That's not something that we do.
Who is available to use the will portion of um this part of the membership? Who is available? Because I heard one person said they were told that only the couple can get
That,
it done and not their children.
that is not correct. It says covered member.
Okay.
Maybe
And
the children were underage, Johnny. I don't know.
okay. So if they're under 18, they cannot use it, but if they're 18 and above, they can use it.
It says covered member.
Yep. Okay. And the last thing, people are asking, can we put an invitation link in Prospect? It's already there. If the event is in Prospect on the calendar in Prospect, you can invite, but you can only do it one at a time. There is no group invitation. There's just one at a time. It's already
Exactly.
built in.
Exactly. Now let's look at some of the other resources that we have available. I pulled these right off of Ellis Engage family, okay? Which will is right for you? How many times are people going to ask you those questions? Right? Well, I think I don't have a lot, so I'll just do a handwritten will. And, or, you know what, I think I need a trust versus a will. And, or, do me and my husband have to have, can we have one, or do we need to have two? And like, we're not attorneys. We shouldn't be obviously answering those, but we have resources to help them understand without us saying, Johnny, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not an attorney, right? I could give you this flyer and said, hey, listen, it can be a complicated thing to understand what part of estate planning is going to be right for us. But wouldn't you agree that having your estate planning in place for your family is very important, but it's very expensive? Well, as a LegalShield member, your estate planning is included in your membership. And I could be handing him this and saying, instead of you trying to figure out which will is right for you, wouldn't it be great with a simple tap of an app? You can ask a qualified estate planning attorney based on your household, your assets, your wishes, what's going to be best for you. But these are some of the actual examples of different parts of estate planning, right? It says an oral will. And what does it say there about that? It says that it's a document that's spoken aloud instead of being written down. This is typically used in emergency situations where the person doesn't have time to write down their wishes. Then it says, though, however, they can be very difficult to prove in court. Additionally, they're typically only valid for very small estates. And then a simple will. And it goes into defining the simple will. And the last thing it says is they're typically used by people who don't have a lot of assets as well. Okay. But it talks about joint wills and what does that mean? And mirror wills. And what does that mean? Listen, I love that gray box. It says how to choose the right will for you. Ultimately, the best way to choose the right will for your needs is to speak to an experienced estate planning lawyer. If you're ready to draft a will, LegalShield can help. We can take the complication and high expense out of the basic will preparation. So when people debate with us all the time what they think they need, have this accessible and say, listen, it's it's important just to tap an app and be able to speak to a qualified attorney, right? So that they can help you choose the right thing for you. I've been with this company 25 years, and I would never try to tell somebody what type of will or what type of estate planning they need, right? I always let them know the privilege that we have to protect our family, our assets, and put them in our wishes is to speak to an experienced attorney about estate planning, right? And so this is, like I said, this is a really great resource that we have, and I don't think we use it enough. The next thing we have is 5 reasons to make a will. People, our family loves the 100 reasons of LegalShield. I don't know why. I like the 25 reasons for LegalShield, and we have the 50 reasons for IDShield, and we have the 25 reasons for small business, but we actually even have one that's called the 5 reasons to make a will. Now, this one is solutions focused. As a matter of fact, it has a backside, and it talks about being part of an estate. The estate planning could be part of their voluntary benefits through their legal plan, right? And so it says you get to, one of the reasons is get the final say, right? That's one of the reasons you should do this, is because you get the final say of your family, your household, your assets, your wishes. You get the final say. You also get to minimize your family conflicts, right? We've all heard of cases where the surviving family members must grieve while squabbling over with their siblings, right? Upon your death, your loved ones should mourn, not battle. Listen to how that's worded. Upon your death, your loved ones should mourn, not battle. And when it comes to your wishes, there should be no room for misinterpretation that could lead to conflict or even legal action. Minimize that. How about this one? Ensure your loved ones are cared for, right? If you're minor children, your will also designates who can care for them if something happens to you. Without a will, the court decides who is appropriate for your children's guardians. Again, this is important because if you don't have it in place, you don't have any input in court. You're gone. Right? What about creating a lasting legacy? So whether you wish to leave everything to your children, your spouse, or even just to donate it to charity with a mission that matters to you, a will gives you that final say in creating a legacy that gives you your life meaning instead of letting the state decide who receives your assets. Family, I put this up here on this slide because I love the wording in this. To me, this is conversational selling. And you all know I love conversational selling, right, Johnny?
Yeah,
But
it is.
listen how this is worded. Like, it pulls on my heart just to say it. And then for your mental health, according to a recent LegalShield survey, people with wills are more likely to feel positive emotions, 40% peace, 37% confident, and 20%, 26% empowered. Those without a will are twice as likely to feel stressed and afraid as those with wills, right? Let there be no doubt, a will is in your and your family's best interest, right? That lays heavy on people. Listen, when I say to people, like I said earlier, Johnny, wouldn't you agree that it's important for us to have our estate planning in place? Our wills, our living wills, our healthcare directives, but wouldn't you also agree it's expensive? And listen, most of us don't have those things in place, and it's not because we don't love our families. It's not because we're not trying to be responsible. It's
Hmm.
because it's costly. If I can take away the cost, if I can share with you a way that you can get these done and write that last love letter, would you join me on a Zoom Wednesday night? Talk with emotion, talk with conviction, right? And all of these flyers are helping me give examples of that. Let people know you care. Get them in that on that Zoom with Mr. Darnell Self and one of our provider law firms.
I want to go back to what you said, the last thing about the mental.
Mhm.
As you know, I had surgery in May,
Right.
and I can attest that that is really true. For me and my family, we were at peace during my surgery because we had that in place. Like, it changed the conversations from, oh my God, what we're going to do, to we're just going to pray for you. It was very different.
See?
So that hits me personally when you put that on there.
Don't make me cry. Okay. So creating your last love letter, right? Think about this. Make your wishes known. And I love this picture too, by the way. Many don't want to think about end of life needs because death can be an unpleasant topic. Yes, of
Yeah.
course. But look, it's not about those dying, it's about those living. As a result, it's common for adults to avoid preparing when they're gone. Not having a will at your passing can impose additional burden on your family, and your assets may be taken by the state. Anyone with loved ones and cherished possessions should have a will, right? Once again, I love the way that this flyer pulls on those heartstrings. But hey, last year, listening to once again our provider law firms, Mike Fiffick said something very important, very powerful. Wayne Hassey also spoke of this. And they talked about when laws were written, it wasn't written for modern day families.
Mm-mm.
And modern day families need modern day advice and preparation. It wasn't written for, unfortunately, for households with blended families. It wasn't written for people that actually, had been married and divorced and remarried, and then they had children from another marriage, and now they have children within this marriage, and it wasn't modern day. Our world has changed, and we need modern day advice and preparation. So I love this. This talks about estate planning, right, with LegalShield. What is a blended family? So how many people know a blended family, right? I am a blended family. And with that being said, this speaks directly to them. See, when two partners with children of their own marry each other, they create a blended family, and blended families are becoming more and more common in the US, and they face a unique set of legal challenges, right? Who should or how should blended families handle their estate planning, right? And it talks about mixing families means mixing your plans for the future. So it speaks very specific to that blended family, right? And so once again, if you did not know that this was on there, I'm really pleased to be able to share that with you today because we can get this out and start getting these people to understand we're speaking directly to their household and we want them on that call with us on Wednesday. How about this one? Protecting the step parent and the children they love.
Mm.
Blended family, blended family. I mean, think about this. There's more than just the estate planning for a step parent. Custody and visitation. Step parents may face difficulties in obtaining legal custody or visitation rights of their stepchildren. They could have raised them since they were a day old, right? Whatever the case is. But legally, right, what do they need to have in place? I mean, look at this little boy, how loved he is, right? How traumatic could it be for this child if the person that he's known to be a parent that stepped up to be the parent, if that child, right, thinks of them as a parent, but yet something happens to the biological parent, and all of a sudden, what? This woman potentially wouldn't have legal rights to the child? That would, I mean, the way I look at this picture is I'd never want to take that love away from this child. So custody and visitation, consent for medical care. She's a step parent. Does she have consent for medical care? Or what are the financial obligations, right? Step parents may face financial obligations if they choose to support their stepchildren, such as paying for healthcare and education. She needs to know what her rights are in that. But here's where step 4 comes in for estate planning: inheritance and estate planning. In the absence of proper estate planning, step parents may face challenges regarding inheritance rights. They may not be able to keep the child. They may not be able to get any of the estate to take care of the child, right? Once again, I would hand this and the blended family to everybody that I knew was in this situation. I said, we need to talk to you. We need to make sure that we have things in place for those that you love. We want you to have your wishes in writing. We don't want anyone else to make those decisions for you. We don't want that child to be stuck in the middle of a battle. We don't want that child to lose the hug that they're receiving. Family, is this making sense?
Yes, I see a lot of thumbs up, hearts up, and somebody put in the chat. This is the exact story of Jason Bimji.
Wow. Well, I don't know if Jason's on here, but if he's not, y'all make sure that you get him this information, okay? This is so, I mean, I'm trying to do everything I can to stop from crying here today. Okay. So I talked about a lot of our tools. I've talked a lot about the way, first I talked about obviously what our contract says and kind of the definition of it, but our tools that are in place to support it and to support us with emotion. But here's something else that's very important. And this one doesn't hold emotion, but this one actually holds education.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got the rules, we've got emotion. Now this is education. So this right here is I think it's a 19-page document.
Yes, it is. And it is my favorite document
The
in LegalShield.
complete guide to estate planning. Listen, this is not the will questionnaire. No. This talks about the importance, the guiding of estate planning. Okay. It's an educational tool. I was talking to a pastor a year or so ago, and I'll never forget this. He wanted me to educate his congregation on LegalShield. And the reason why he wanted me to educate his congregation on LegalShield is he also, by the way, not only was a pastor, he was an insurance agent. And he said, Melissa, he says, I cannot for the life of me get my congregation to understand the importance of life insurance. I really just can't. He says, the life insurance and the life insurance and the estate planning are so important. He goes, but I can't tell you how many services that I've provided and the plan ended up being GoFundMe. He said, GoFundMe is not an estate plan, right? And you think about that, how many people, unfortunately, are in those situations. And so this resource was the resource that I gave him to give to his congregation, to educate his congregation, okay? If you have places like the Chamber of Commerce, where you can't put out a sales brochure, but you could put some educational material. For instance, I'll give you another one, like a bank or a credit union. So I'm very close friends with the bank around the corner, with the manager there. And she says, we can put as business owners, we can put our business cards. She has like this little business note. You can put your business cards as long as you have them, in a little holder. You can put some educational information as long as it's something that's, important for the community to know. Like I can't go in there and like put my menu to a restaurant. But if it's educational information, that's something that's going to help their members, they'll let us put stuff in there. But not a sales flyer either. And so I took this to her and said, this educates the community on how and why estate planning is important, what it does, gives them some basic understanding, and has a place for my name, by the way, to write on it. And so she allows me to put that in the bank. They also go out to the community and they put together swag bags and they take them to different parts of the community where there's apartment complexes. And in those swag bags, it's things like educational things and whatever the case is. Sometimes, it will have other things in it, like maybe a dentist will give toothbrushes and things like that, whatever. But it also has a lot of educational information. This, once again, is something that I'd use. So chambers of commerce, credit unions. How about your accountants? My tax preparer, my accountant and tax preparer, once again, they have a table for their clients to get resources. This is a great resource to have there about their estate planning. Life insurance agents, as I talked about earlier, in terms of it's hard to have a conversation about life insurance without having a conversation about our estate planning. And so this is a great resource to give to them to tell their clients, hey, listen, it's important for you to get your estate done. I want you to glance through this. And by the way, if by chance you realize that you need to get this done, like I've been sharing it with you, and you want an affordable way, please call Melissa. Her information's right here on here, right? So this is a resource, an educational resource for the community. So let's talk about what's in this.
And yes, everybody, it is an Ellis Engage. It's probably under business solutions, under resources. I go to every week to get it. Is one of my favorite tools. So it is an Ellis Engage. I promise you.
It most definitely is, family. It most definitely is. But when you print it off, make it look like something, especially if you're going to give it to the community, right? So it's understanding the fundamentals of estate planning. And I love this because it says things like, what happens when you don't create an estate plan? In the unfortunate event that you die without an estate, your estate will go through the probate process in which the court is going to decide what happens to your assets. Let this tool give the questions and the answers to our community, to your prospects, right? I want you, not now, but I want you after this particular webinar today to take an extra 15 or 20 minutes, go into Ellis Engage, pull it up, print it off, and I want you to read it. And I want you to understand something very important. Although this is educating us on the importance of the understanding of getting our estate planning done, do you know what the privilege is? That when we go to complete our will questionnaire, we don't have to go back and reference this to understand definitions. All we have to do is tap an app and say, I need advice on my estate planning. And our members get to have a qualified estate planning attorney talk to them these words, share with them in conversation, guide them through the process, right? But man, this shows me, Johnny, if I was going to say to you, if I gave that to you and I say, listen, this is really important for me to share with you the importance of and the understanding of getting your estate planning done and what certain elements of that means to you and your family. Maybe some of these things are not directly related to you, but it is a complete understanding of estate planning here for you. And by the way, if you're interested, you don't have to learn this all on your own. You can call me back because about $1 a day, Johnny, guess what? You're going to be able to have access to qualified attorneys who will do this work for you. You're going to be able to tap an app and say, I need advice on my estate planning. They're going to talk to you about this based on your life, your lifestyle, your family, your assets, your wishes. And we're going to make sure that we get that all tied up with a nice little bow and send it over to you so you can get that stored, right? Executed and stored. This is fantastic, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
I mean, telling you, when you read this, family, you're gonna be like, why haven't I used this? So that was 3 of the pages. Here's 3 more. And once again, I pulled something out of it. It says, not creating an estate plan can lead to additional stress, additional cost, and complications for your family members during an already difficult time. I love that. Johnny, listen, we want to get these things in place because if we don't, this can add additional stress, create additional cost, and create complications for your family during a very difficult time. So it's important to take the time to create the estate planning today to ensure that your assets are distributed according to your wishes and to minimize any potential conflict among your family members because we don't want that, right? And listen, family, if you say, well, Melissa, I want to say what you just said, it's printed on these documents. Not, I've added a little bit of obviously some emotion to it, but it's printed on these documents. Okay.
Yeah.
And once again, here's 3 more pages of understanding. And I'm telling you, when you read it yourself, and by the way, it has place for people to make notes. So Johnny, as you're reading this, jot down a few things. Think about it as you're reading through it and you're looking at the definition. Jot down a few things that you know that you'd want to protect, or hey, jot down a few questions that you may want to ask your estate planning attorney as a member of LegalShield, right?
Oh yeah, this is great.
Right. And so this one, what is the complete process of preparing an estate, right? Once again, still going through it. There's different steps. It's walking you through it. Once again, definitions, 19 pages. But I want to share with you these last 3. I love these last 3. It's not that there's other ones that are not important, but watch this. I want to make sure you really saw what was on these last 3. Additional variables to consider. When should you revise and update your estate plan? You may think that you can safely forget about your will once your estate is in place. Now we're talking about annual updates. But life will change, and you should review and update your documents periodically to ensure it's accurately reflecting your wishes. It generally recommends for you to take a look at your end of life plans every 3 to 5 years. We know as a member, we can do it annually because we don't have to worry about the cost. But when are some of the times? Like moving to a different state. Move to a different state, a whole nother set of laws. So you're going to have to get that done. You get married or you get a divorce. You have a birth or you adopt a child. You become an empty nester, right? Your children are gone. Now what happens? How you want to divide your assets? Your life has changed. Change in your career, maybe a death of a beneficiary, retirement. Maybe you're starting a business, a significant change in your financial situation. Changes in law can also impact the effectiveness of your estate plan. So that means that maybe you don't have any of these changes, but the law changed and you didn't know it. So it's important to review that plan also. How about this? It says, accessing the value of professional help. See, as you reach the end of this guide, consider the significant role a qualified estate planning lawyer plays in helping you establish a solid foundation to protect your loved ones and honor your wishes. Whoa, wait a second. You mean it gave them all that information and had them jot down some notes, and now it's telling them, but we would really like to talk to you? Because estate planning involves complex legal process, and a lawyer with expertise in this area can provide valuable guidance and support. The following are key benefits of working with a lawyer for estate planning. And now it's going through some of those things. And then check this out, Johnny. This is the very last page. What are the costs of creating a complete estate plan? The typical way or the LegalShield way? Oh, you mean I don't have to tell them that? The document's going to tell it for them that they really should get back with me? Absolutely. Now, remember, I can't put a sales piece out, but I can put an educational piece out. And this has allowed me to not only get the education in the community, it's also allowed me to create value in what we do. And my information is right there on the front of it. Powerful, isn't it? Johnny,
Oh yeah.
what are the comments?
A lot of people were looking for it, trying to find it instead of watching it, but a lot of the comments
Family,
are all positive
come
about it.
back.
People are excited about it. I know
You
I'm personally excited about it.
Okay, so should I just stop right now, family, and not show you the wheel workshops, or should I keep going? I want you to come back to me. Okay.
Oh
I
yeah.
promise you it's there. I promise you. Now, so let me talk to you also about something else that you have access to. You have access to some will workshops. Now, once again, it's an Ellis Engage. Don't go there right now. It doesn't look exactly like this one, but when you go in to, it's a, it's a will questionnaire that has this couple in the front. And there's also a will PDF that has this couple on the front, and it's the workshop. So you've got a will workshop and you've got a will questionnaire. Now, the reason why I'm saying it doesn't look exactly like this is because I've changed the layout of it. And so we'll try to get that updated. But in the meantime, you don't have to worry about it. It is there. Okay. It is there. So what does this look like? What does the will workshop look like? We've taken the questionnaire and we've put it into a step-by-step process. But we also put it in a step-by-step process with not just the paper, but also with the mobile app. So that if I'm having a will workshop, some of those people may be members. They have an app. They can actually start doing it right there as I'm talking. But if they're not a member, they can't. So therefore, I have what? I have the questionnaire. So the people that are not a member can also go through it with me. And at the end of it, I can say, now you've started the process. When you're ready to get it executed, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help you. Do you see what I'm saying? So here's how this walks through. Will workshop. The facts. Over 54% of survey participants do not have a will in place. We know that. As a matter of fact, let me tell you what two of our provider attorneys say about this. When asked about things that are most important to them in life, right? Or asked about things most important in life to them, people often cite family members or family as number one. Yet millions of Americans fail to take care of their families by getting their estate planning in order. You work hard for your money and you love your family. If your family is truly the most important thing in your life, it makes sense to make it a priority to get your estate planning completed. Your family is counting on you. Whoa. I love that testimonial by one of our provider law firms. And then another attorney, one of our provider law firms. Estate planning is for the living, not the dead. Having a will means that your assets go where you need them after you die. Your trusted agent under your financial power of attorney makes certain that your assets are spent on your behalf. And your healthcare power of attorney and living will agent makes certain that your healthcare decisions are respected. Failing to estate plan is an invitation for the courts to make these decisions. Whoa. Failing to estate plan is an invitation for the court to make these decisions. Two powerful testimonials by two powerful attorneys. But why don't people have these things in place? It's perceptions. Perceptions of, I don't need it if I want everything to go to my kids. Or a perception of my family members will just take my kids. Or I don't have anything. Or it's too expensive and takes too long. The good news is LegalShield has made it easy and affordable. And they can also talk to you about our misconceptions of what we're thinking when it comes to our estate planning. And completing your will questionnaire has never been easier. Choose one of the three options. You can complete your will questionnaire by using your mobile app. The app will walk you through step by step on how to provide the information needed to complete your will. You can save your progress so when you start now, you can finish it later. Or you can also complete your will questionnaire using your LegalShield web interface, which means access or login.legalshield.com. And you can begin today. Progress on the portal is also saved. So if I'm on my phone today, starting it, I'm in line, Johnny, at Walmart, and I start to complete it and I stop. If I get home, I get on my computer, I can pick up where I left off, right?
Yep.
Either way. Or you also could do a fillable PDF, the will questionnaire. It's available to those members who wish to use it. And we have those will questionnaires in Ellis Engage to give them, or we can buy them from Staples. Okay. So what do? Well, step one, here's the process, family. And for time purposes, right, I'm going to kind of walk through it. I'm not going to give a full webinar, but you get the gist here, right? Step 1 is either open up the app and click on request a consult in estate planning, or step 1 is use your will questionnaire, right? So we're going to go ahead. We've got it on our app. We've got our will questionnaire. Step 2, complete the general information, whether it's the app, whether it's the first 2 pages on the will questionnaire, right? So there, as you're walking through it, that member can be either doing it on their app, or the prospective member can be starting the process right there on the will questionnaire. Step 3, complete the spouse and partner information. Step 4, complete the dependents information. Add the executor. How should you divide your assets? List any significant debts. How to contact you. How's the provider attorney going to contact you? That's obviously for our members. Step 9, review your information and submit to your law firm. Now, this is the part where I would say in the will workshop, and by the way, those of you that are not members yet, remember, it's okay. When you're ready, come see me. Now, the way I look at this, Johnny, is they've completed a lot of information. They can start to see that, hey, it's not as complicated and time consuming as I thought. Hey, and it doesn't have to be as expensive as I thought. And Johnny, by the way, if I have a paper and I'm completing it and you're sitting beside me and you have an app and you're getting ready to really do it, I'm looking at your app the whole time. You know I am. And so at the end of that, at the end of that, it's easy to say, hey, Melissa, so if I was that prospect, right, it's easy for you to say to me, hey, hold on to that when you're ready to get started. We can send that over to your firm. Or you know what, if you're ready to get started now, we can go ahead and take care of that today. As a matter of fact, we can go ahead and still upload that, or we can go ahead and get that app on your phone today, right? And by the way, close it out with some testimonials. Here's 2 member testimonials. My husband and I have been wanting to get our wills done for years, and LegalShield has made it so simple. And the turnaround time was amazingly fast. Now we have peace of mind knowing that we have things in order. Thank you for your prompt and courteous service. I would definitely recommend it. Or I provided LegalShield with a challenge in preparing my will in a few days as I was leaving to travel for a month. They met my challenge and were able to help me leave paper signed just in case. I am halfway through my trip and enjoying peace of mind. Many thanks. Now, here's what I would do if I was doing a will workshop. I would have this up, but I would ask any of the members in the room, if they've already gotten their estate planning done, if they would actually give a testimonial, right? And then thank them for coming, right? Tap, complete, leave your last love letter. Thank you for attending. So that's one will workshop that you have available. Remember, it's going to be slightly different because of the layout, but it's the steps. Everything is in there. Also, myself and Mr. Mike Riches have one in legal and regulatory right now to review, to get it out here for you. This is more of a PowerPoint one. So the first one, honestly, you really didn't need a PowerPoint. You could do it by you knowing how to step by step through the app or the will questionnaire. If you could put it up, put it up. But if not, no problem. This one is designed more in a PowerPoint will workshop. So it starts here with the cover, and then it moves into, this is going to be a video. This video, oh, it is playing. I didn't think it is. Can you hear it, Johnny?
No, you have to turn on a sound for it.
Through what estate planning is
it playing?
And why
It's
you
playing.
need it.
Okay,
I will
so
also explain
as
common
that's
estate
playing,
planning
this
terminology
video
some folks can
is
often
in
find
prospect.
confusing.
Okay.
What is your estate?
So this
Put
is built
simply,
into the
your
PDF.
estate
in
is
the
all the
PowerPoint
assets
for
that
you.
you have
So if you're
accumulated,
actually
or in
doing
other
a will
words, it's
workshop,
your stuff.
right? This is how
That
we're
includes
going to
everything
start
from the
off
home
by
that
one
you
of our
own
provider
to the lamp and
attorneys
couch inside that home. It
talking
includes
to
your bank
your
accounts and
guests.
anything that you have an ownership interest in,
So
such as
the
a
video
business. In
is,
short, it's anything you own that needs to go
it
somewhere
can't be no more than
in the
15
event that you
minutes.
should pass. The 3 main goals of estate planning can be summed up as follows. manage your affairs during your lifetime, to distribute your estate after your death, and appoint
it's
a
not giving me a
guardian
little
for
bar to see
independent
how much
children,
it is.
caretaker for
But
any
I
pets,
go into,
and
not
to
now,
minimize
family,
problems for
in
your
a little
loved
while,
ones
go into
after your
prospect
passing.
and
Most
look
of us
at
don't
this.
want
Now,
to consider that
Mr.
our
Richards
family
and
could
myself
fall
should
into
have
tension
this
or
out
anger after our passing, but
early in the week.
unfortunately, that is
It's
more
already in
likely to
legal.
happen when the
Okay.
family does not have clear
So, but
direction
that first
in
one,
the form
already
of a will
available.
or
The will
estate
workshop,
planning from you.
already, that
This is why it is
PDF will
important
workshop
to have some plan
and
in
the will
place to ensure your
questionnaire
family has a smooth
already available.
transition
Okay,
to
this
administer
one
your
is soon to
estate
follow.
and distribute your assets.
All right, but I love
If you
this
don't have a
because,
will,
like I said,
a third
this
party,
is
such as a judge, will be
coming
making
from
those
one of our
decisions
attorneys.
for you. The purpose and
Coming from
need for
John,
estate
I
planning.
think.
Somebody said his video is
Estate
2
planning
minutes.
allows you to make
2
your
minutes?
wishes
Okay.
known to who's
I knew
to
it wasn't
receive
very
your
long.
assets, who will administer your estate, and who will be the guardian of your children or caretaker of any pets. This
All
can
right,
all be
I'm going to go ahead
accomplished
and move
through a
along for
will.
time purposes, but you get
You
the
can
gist
also
of
make your
this.
wishes known for
Now,
life-sustaining treatment.
the next thing it goes into is a last will and testament prepares for the inevitable. So it talks a little bit about what it is and without it, what could happen. Then it gives a little bit of statistics showing that legacies are at risk, right? Surveys reveal nearly 60% of Americans are unprepared for the inevitable. So I love it. Always give statistics, right? We need to let them know that they're not alone. We don't want to embarrass somebody, right? So I never say to people, do you have a will? I never say that. I think it's rude. Because if they have to give you an answer that they're uncomfortable with, right? You've now made them uncomfortable. It's not fair. You know, am I trying to say, oh, you don't have a will? Why? Shame on you. Don't you love your family? Right? You don't want to be responsible? No, it comes out really, really wrong. That's why I always say, Johnny, wouldn't you agree that having a current will in place for your family is very important?
Yes.
Because whether he has one or not, he's agreeing with me and having it's important. Then I'll say to him, and when you agree, it also can be expensive. That's why most of our family members and loved ones don't have it in place. It's not because we don't love our families. It's not because we're not trying to be responsible. It's because it can be costly. You know, surveys tell us 90% of Americans believe having a will is important, but nearly 60% don't have one prepared, and it's that cost. Johnny, I'm excited to say as a LegalShield member, we don't have to worry about that cost, right? As a member, we can get our estate planning done. Isn't that fantastic? Right? Now, there's 4 goals of estate planning: to manage your estate during your lifetime, have an executor to distribute your estate after your death. So you're doing it while you're alive, and then when you're gone, they're going to actually make sure your wishes are carried through. It's going to help minimize costs, taxes, and hassles, and it's going to provide minor children with their care, whether that is someone's custody, right, or the custody of the children, or whether it's financial. Once again, we know those perceptions are out there. But we have a lot of these perceptions because, once again, it's because we either don't understand the importance, or because we know it's so expensive, it's just easier to say, my family will take my kids. It kind of goes to that mental health thing of, you know, I don't want to really think about it. So logically, I would assume my kids will go with my family, so I'm good to go. And that's how I'm going to think about it. We don't have to have these perceptions. We don't have to have these misunderstandings. Right? We can get it done. So when should you think about updating? So if you have one already, right? If you already have one, these are ways that maybe you should consider updating it, right? And then what about your digital assets? Digital estate planning is important. We sometimes forget about the fact that we live in a digital world, and who's going to get the rights to that digital information or the digital rewards or assets that you have? That should be part of your estate planning. And also,
oh my God, I love this. Sorry, I love this slide right here.
well, it was an older version. I updated this one, but absolutely. And then, you know, the good news is, Johnny, you don't have to worry about any of that, because your LegalShield plan includes preparation of wills for all covered family members, a medical directive, your financial power of attorney, your healthcare power of attorney, and your wills, right? Updated once a calendar year. And completing your will has never been easier. Once again, here's those 3 bullets. Now, this is a PowerPoint one. So this is preparing your will. Can you hear this, Johnny?
LegalShield makes
Yes.
wills simple.
Okay. So there's
Because
two
everyone
videos
has
built into
things,
this
even you.
PowerPoint.
Little things, big things,
Once again,
weird things.
this is on prospect.
Sweet
Don't go
things.
now.
A
You could be
will helps
sending out
things
these
go where you
videos though
want,
and inviting
not
people
where
to
someone else
come
could decide.
on Wednesday.
It's like a love letter to family and friends.
That's
so
the
they
love
know
letter.
what to do.
Did you see that?
One tap connects you with a vetted law firm to create a legally valid will, answer questions, and expect the unexpected. Passwords, social media accounts, last paycheck. Yep, it's all will-worthy. For this, that, and
That's
the
a
next
blended
thing life can
family.
bring, be legal ready with LegalShield.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Very.
All right, so here's the steps. Now this time, family, it's only the app, okay? Because this one is a PDF to drive people to do it, right? Members to do it like right there. If you have people that are not members at your will workshop, hand them the questionnaire and tell them that the steps can be provided simply by turning the page as opposed to tapping, right? So it walks them through the steps. Okay. And then it has the member testimonials, the two that I read earlier. And then, of course, we thank them for attending. So you'll have two, one that could be used, as a PowerPoint. Doesn't necessarily have to. It can be your tool to use as a guide, and you just take them through the steps of their app in the will questionnaire. This one is a PowerPoint with built-in videos. Okay. Now, in wrapping up some of what I want to share with you, I want to also tell you that we have this flyer in Ellis Engage. Listen to the statistics, Johnny. Listen to this. I want to read something to you, family, from from Warren, okay? So last year, listen to me closely, family. Last year, our first Make a Will Month campaign was a big deal. A 6% growth in will intakes from August 22 to August 23. So what did we do different in 23 than we did in 22? 22, we didn't do will webinars. 2023, we did, and we had a 6% increase in our members getting their will done. What? Okay, now listen. We also had a 17% intake increase from July of 2023 to August of 2023. Wait, from 1 month, we saw a spike of 17% will intakes just because of the will workshops, just because of the focus on the Make a Will month. Wow. And we expect that to be higher this month than last year. Now, it also said, listen to me closely. It also said, what's particularly interesting is the data showing that our members who complete their will through us are 75 more likely to become a lifetime member. Family, 75% more likely to be a lifetime member if they get their will done. This is a month. This right here, understand, we enroll members all the time, okay? I give them the activation sheet all the time. And putting this will workshop together, this sales masterclass training together and working on the will workshops, I came across this. This is a flyer we have, and it's called LegalShield's Guided Questionnaire Makes Creating a Will Easy. And this is telling them the process of using their technology, whether it's their portal or whether it's their app, to get that done now. Okay, listen to what has changed in my mind, started yesterday by doing this deck. why am I giving them a will questionnaire that has no guidance on it? Why? Okay, number one, I'm enrolling them. Number two, I should be giving them the activation steps to log into their portal and to download their app. I should be giving them guidance to, yeah, get your will done. Here's a will questionnaire. The will questionnaire doesn't have any call to action on it, if you will. It's important, but it doesn't really take it home. So I'm enrolling them. I'm hopefully activating them, but I want them to be one of those 75% more likely to become a lifetime member. I'm going to give them this with their will questionnaire. And I'm going to say, you can do it on paper, or buddy, guess what? When you download that app, or you log in or you download that app, you can do it right then and there. The choice is yours. I'm going to move them hopefully to action by using one of those three ways: the will questionnaire, the app, or the portal. This is going in every one of my member kits. Now, what happens when they actually log in, which is really cool, if you haven't seen this yet, when I log in to login.legalshield.com and I click on my legal plan, it actually, it's a little different today. It's actually even stronger today, because it actually says to get started. And beside it, there's actually a video. Okay, so if you haven't been into login.legalshield.com and click on your legal plan, you're going to see right on the home page, you're going to see get started, your will. And it's going to say up next is your will. Like, this is what you do next. You logged in, you can request a consult. Up next, get your will, get your will, get your will. It's going to do the same thing on your mobile device. And I can start it on my mobile device and finish it on the portal. I can start it on the portal, finish it on my mobile device. It doesn't matter. They're intuitive, right? It's your portal. And once I click on it to get started, be prepared for whatever the future holds. So now it walks me through filling out personal information, family information, other parties, assets and debts, and review. And when I'm done, I submit it. So that flyer, heck, it should be on the back of our activation flyers. Do you know that? That's a good idea. I think I'm going to ask about that. It should be almost a mandate. What do you think, Johnny?
I agree.
So that way we don't have any excuses. It should be page 2 of the activation sheet. God, it will. Okay. Now, some other key things I want to talk to you about, and then I'm going to answer a few questions for the last 15 minutes. Key benefits here. Members, as I mentioned, are automatically prompted to create or update their will directly from their portal, because it's going to say up next. And then there's, like I said, there's a video right there now. There wasn't one before. And it's going to do the same thing on your mobile app in the front of the screen. So that means every time I log into my portal, or every time I get on my app, I should see create your will, or how much of it I started. It should remind me every single time, get this done, get this done, get this done, get this done. And get step-by-step instructions, right, that include the explanation of what the member is asking for. You can upload the documents directly in the questionnaire as you go along. So if it's asking me for things as I'm going along, I can upload it right there in my portal, right? The member can go at their own pace. It saves wherever they left off. The member can see their progress. Like I could say, it says, oh, I've got 30% done. Man, I got 70% done, right? You can submit your questionnaire through the app instead of mailing it. It allows the freedom and flexibility to work from any device, as I mentioned. And of course, we always can use our questionnaire. So here's kind of a checklist. So estate planning documents. Are they up to date? This is what I've been asking my friends and family. Are your estate planning documents up to date? They say yes. Great. Are they notarized and filed? They're not? Okay, we have to stop there. All right, they are? Okay, great. Are they readily accessible? Do people know where they're at? Oh, you got them hid? No, that does them no good. Somebody needs to know where they're at, right? Do you have named beneficiaries on all of your accounts, right? On your life insurance? Have you talked to your attorney about how to do that? Why it's important, right? Are they prepared for your residential state, or have you moved? Oh, okay. So you haven't moved. Okay, great. Powers of attorney. So have you talked to the attorney of understanding which ones are applicable to you and which ones do you have them. Perfect. Are they on file with the necessary entities? Are they on file with your bank? Are they on file with your doctors? Are they on file with your pharmacist? Are they on file with your insurance company? Are they on file with your financial advisor? Are they on file with utility companies? Right? And have you talked to your estate planning attorney about estate taxes and shelters? I've been using this with my family, with my friends, because these are all the things they should be talking about and doing. Family, I had to go through this with my parents, right? No one would talk to me at the pharmacist's office without me having their power of attorney on file. Nobody would talk to me at their doctor's office. They have dementia. They don't understand what the heck you're talking about. Why can't I talk to you? Because I need a power of attorney, right? So understand that these things are important. And also understand that we've got to put 1,000+ people on this webinar on Wednesday, August 7th. So we have a lot of inviting to do between now and then, right? There are, how many of us on here? 406. There was about 450 earlier. So if each one of us just had 2 people, right? That's 800. We can do this. And think about how much blessing we will be giving to the people that we get there. So Johnny, I'm going to go ahead and stop right now.
Okay.
Answer any questions that I can answer within the next 14 minutes.
I have 4 questions. First one, are these materials available in Spanish?
Forgive me, I don't know.
Okay. I haven't seen many, but that doesn't mean they're not. So, second question, somebody said when they go to the portal, when they go to the app, the will questionnaire is no longer on the face of it. I don't know what they mean by that, but
You
is it gone?
probably have to click on request a consult. Click on that and see what happens, okay?
Okay. I got 2 examples. One person said that they don't need a will because their son is on their bank accounts. Why would they? How do I overcome that objection?
They don't need a will because their son is on their bank accounts. My whole thing is, okay, so what they're saying is their son's name is on their bank account and they could take money, I guess, whenever they need it. Okay. I can't get into legal, and I know my brother was on my parents as well. Okay. That same name as my father, so it was easy for him to do it regardless. But understand that that doesn't give him security that once the bank knows you're gone, that those assets are his. I'm just letting you know that once you pass away, when my father passed away, they started the notification to the credit repositories of his death, Social Security, rather, of his death. So they'll know that you passed. And I can't give you peace of mind knowing that that bank won't shut down your account until they receive documentation from your estate. Notification of death happens. You can't fool somebody. It's going to happen with Social Security. It's going to happen with, your retirement checks. It's going to happen with your Social Security benefits. I mean, all those things matter. So once it's reported, it's out there. So that's not peace of mind for me. So here's the thing. We can educate ignorance. We can't change stupid. And I'm saying that respectfully. Okay. So please make sure that with compassion and empathy that you say, I understand what you're saying. I understand that, and I'm glad that at least you have that as something that gives you some peace of mind. But I think it would be probably a stronger peace of mind knowing that you have your entire affairs in order, right? And talking to a qualified attorney, and that's not me, would be able to let you know that you are doing the right thing, and that you're protecting your son so that you can continue to have those assets. Or is he responsible for inheritance tax? I couldn't tell you that, but the attorney can. I mean, I could tell her, but I'm not going to tell her because I'm not an attorney, right? All right. What's the next one?
Will that webinar be recorded?
No, they're not. That's why you having, well, first of all, that's why you being on there is important. So you can get the language of Mr. Fiffick or Mr. Hassey or whoever's doing it. And then you take the will workshops that we've created or the sheets that are there for educational, and you go out and continue to do them through the month. Like, I personally wouldn't wait till Wednesday to start talking to people. I'd be inviting them all to come, but I'd also be talking to them now about some of those educational pieces we talked about earlier, or setting up my own will workshops. Like I mentioned, when Ken Roebuck talked to me about his family and doing his family estate planning, I just thought, man, that's powerful. That's so powerful. Okay.
Are there any other dates that you could give us at this time for other webinars if people cannot go to that webinar?
No. This is the next event. You all know how we are, family. Promote to the next event. So this is what I'm able to promote. Our next event.
And the event that she's got posted is for non-members. So just so I say that question in there, it's
But
not
here's the
for
thing.
us. We want to go there, but not for
Oh,
us.
of course you want to go. It is for guests, Sarah. So guess what? Even if you can't be there, get your guest there. Get your guest there.
Do you
And
know
it's
how
about,
long?
it's got, last year was about 45 minutes. The attorneys talked for about 25, 30 minutes. If the attorneys will keep it to about 20, 25 minutes, then we can be done in 30. But if they go a little over, which has happened, then Darnell or somebody will wrap it up at the back end for about 10, 15 minutes, right? Because when I wrapped it up last year, I basically said, wow, that it's a lot of information. The privilege that we all have as a LegalShield member, that you can have too as a member of LegalShield, is you have access to attorneys just like this. They're going to speak to you directly, not to thousands, but they're going to speak to you directly about what's good for your life, your lifestyle, your assets, your wishes. And then they're going to do that documentation for you. So we're going to make sure you have your estate planning advice. We're going to make sure that we have your wills, your living wills, your healthcare power of attorneys, maybe minor's trust if necessary, right? And not only do you get that for about $1 a day, but you also get access to be able to talk to them about any of your other personal related concerns, as well as have them write letters and make phone calls, assist with moving violations, also protect us if we're sued or audited. So the plan is so much more, but the first thing we want all of our members to understand is the importance of the estate planning.
So
So it's not like a full presentation, right? At the end, it is a presentation, but it's not the traditional presentation.
So people are asking for that deck that you said is in corporate being approved. So it's still being approved. It's not available until it gets approved, correct?
That PowerPoint,
Yes,
correct?
PowerPoint,
Yes.
yes.
Now, right now, that will questionnaire, all those educational pieces, the other layout, if you will, of the walkthrough of that one that's combined with the will questionnaire and the app, it's there already. Yes. Yes.
I see so many different examples of objections and things, but one was somebody said their objection was they have an adult child, so they have no assets to divide. They don't need a will.
If you do not die with a will, you die in intestate. I don't care if you have one child. It's going to be decided by a judge. You have to have these things in place. I can't stress it enough. Listen, here's what I would say. I tell you, in my groups, okay, leaving my members that I just enrolled, I say, listen, first thing, when you get your membership number, right? Because we used to mail out packets back then from corporate. I said, the very first thing I want you to do is pick up the phone, call your toll-free number, and I want you to say, I need advice on estate planning. That was my number one thing. And the reason why I would have them call and say, I need advice on estate planning was because, number one, the answer should scare them enough of dying without a will to put them into action to get their will. So you want to really move them? Tell them to do this. I need advice on what happens if I die in this state without a will. How about that? Let's ask them that question. Let's tell every one of our members to call into the firm and say, what happens if I die in this state without a will? Right?
Right.
The answer should scare them enough. It should fuel them enough to get their wills done. Okay, Johnny, any other questions for me?
There's one that's got a lot of similar offshoots of it, but somebody said that when they go to networking events, the estate planning attorneys say that having a will is not enough for this situation.
Very
How
well
do they
could be
deal with that?
true. Very well could be true. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, right? But how much is he going to charge them to get that answer? And how much is he going to charge them to get the work done?
That's
I
good.
might find another networking event to start attending. He thinks of you as direct competition, and he's going to say anything that he can say to make sure that people hear him. Right?
I agree.
Now, here's another thing. Make a Will Month by Corporate is the webinar I was talking about with Mr. Self. I'd go on to my provider law firm's website because your provider law firm may be also doing educational webinars. A lot of our provider law firms do that. Right? So I would check it out. Matter of fact, Johnny, let me know if Friedman, Fromme, and Thrush are doing one. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I would most definitely check that out. All right. Family, I hope this helped you today. This is the only time I could get it done. And in preparation, I thought it'd be a great time, the first of the month, right as we're launching all this. I hope it's kind of heightened some of your awareness of, number one, how we do what we do. Number two, the resources we already have in place. Number three, the resources that we've built to put in place that's new. But number three, I really hope this motivates you to go out there and share it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Because, and by the way, if you haven't gotten your will done, I'd highly recommend you do it. I
Yes.
highly recommend that you do it because, see, here's the thing. It is hard for you to describe with emotion and passion and conviction how simple but how empowering it is to have your estate done. It's hard for you to describe it if you haven't done it. That means you're going to use my script and my words to talk to other people. But if you get it done, you can use your heart, your passion, your empowerment to fuel that conversation. And when you do that, it changes everything because they're not just hearing what you're saying, they are feeling what you're saying, and it changes the whole dynamics of the conversation. So if you haven't done it, get it done. As a matter of fact, I think I should call Warren or Kathy Penton and ask them, give me a list of all the associates that haven't gotten their will done, because I'm going to call them on Monday and tell them, you better get that done.
Or I can just tell my story that, when you have the medical power of attorney and financial power of attorney, the person that's listed on that is called the agent. So the day I went into surgery, my agent was at the hospital with all the appropriate documents. Now looking at me here, we know everything was good. However, had anything went south, she was prepared. She had already had a conversation with me, had all the legal documents in place, and could make the decisions that I would want to have happened in that surgery. That's such a peaceful feeling to know that everything's handled. I don't have to worry about my kids. I don't have to worry about my mom. I don't have to worry about anybody else. Like, there's no better way to describe the will than to actually have used the will. And God forbid, if you ever have to use the will, just be thanking God that you have access to the will.
That's right. All right. Oh, I saw one question. I do want to answer it. And that question is, will the attorney on the will webinar, will they tell you to get back with the person that invited you? No, they're going to turn it back over to our host. They're going to turn it back over to Darnell South. The attorneys drop off. They have to drop off. because Mr. Self then will talk about selling our benefit to our guest, and the attorneys can't be on there. So they're going to do their part. They're going to do the education. They'll introduce the guest to come back, which will be the host to come back, which was going to be Mr. Self. And then they're going to drop off, and then he's going to wrap it up. And then he will tell the people to get back with the person that invited them, just like we do as LegalShield family at any event that we do. Okay. I hope you enjoy your Saturday. Listen, if you haven't got out to one of our full service trainings, our deck is completely revamped. We hope to
Yep.
see you. We hope to see you out there. I know we have some trainings today, but we got a lot of trainings throughout the month of August. If you need us, if you need myself, you need Johnny, you need any of our trainers, you need any supportive training, email us at fullservicetraining@pplsi.com. All right. Thanks, family.